Alrighty, here we go. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. I haven't recorded in a while. I've been working on digital marketing, doing some Google ads and things like that to get my books selling better. I got this great guy named Garrett taking care of that for me. Props to you, Garrett, if you hear this one. I trust you. You're taking a lot of my money, so I'm hoping it's going to work, man. I got my fingers crossed. Speaking of fingers, I've got paint all over them. It's warm out now. I can work, which is great. Been outside working. I painted a roof today. That's right. That's now a thing. I can't tell you how many times people have asked me, hey, can you just paint shingles? We don't like the color. Like, yep, you can paint anything, but it's going to be gone in probably 6 months. I mean, that's my thought, but I guess Behr is offering a product now that you can do shingles. Anyway, so I did one for a guy today. We'll see how long it lasts. I'm super curious about that. But yeah, that's what's going on. It's nice out. Get to ride my motorcycle now, which is great. That's awesome. And I thought maybe we could talk. This idea has been ripping through my head. I'm posting a lot on Substack. That's basically what I did all winter. If you guys aren't on Substack, jump in there, check it out. I think I'm Travis Neville author on there, just like everywhere else. And I get to write a lot. So all winter, that's what it's been. Garrett has been giving me prompts, things to write about. Normally I'm self-guided on that. I just decide, what I'm interested in and what I'm going to write about, and it might be inspired by a book I'm reading or someone I talked to or a conversation or something I saw on a movie. That might get me thinking about something to share with you guys. But he has, he understands sort of what we're doing here and the angle that we're taking. Garrett does. So he'll be like, hey, here's a concept you can write about. And a lot of times I can just pull something out of one of the books I've already written and say, all right, here's modify it a little bit, polish it up, and all right, here's an essay on that topic for you. But other times I write them completely out of nowhere. Anyway, that's how that's gone. It's put a lot of stuff on Substack, and I'm enjoying that platform because it is essentially social media, but for writers who are over 30 and can think. So TikTok is sort of the toilet of social media. It's a bunch of teenagers and college kids who are just morons. Like they believe the shit that's been spewed to them by social media, by universities, by Hollywood, by every billboard they see, every sign, every screen they see. So they really can't think, and they're very emotional, and everything's about them. But Substack, these are people who want to write. They want to really, really analyze and get into, dissect concepts and ideas, which is exactly what I do. So I found some people who are much more like me on there, and you're not going to get 1 million followers on there. Like you guys know, I talk about Jack Donovan a lot, and he's got like 1,800, and he's a guy who's, as you know, published all over the world and sort of the godfather of this thing that I do. So my point is that it isn't about being big and getting numbers and you're not going to make really money on Substack, not like you can on the other platforms. But for me, what's great is I can try out the ideas that I want to try out, and I'm going to get feedback from other people who are smart and can have thought through things like I'm working on. So speaking of Jack, he wrote one of his essays, and I usually will comment on his stuff. He mentioned just very briefly in one of his recent essays on Substack the idea of the circle. And he said this, he made this comment, something I'm going to paraphrase. Men, our duty, our genetic core, who we are, and what we need to be able to do is to protect and he calls it the circle, the idea of the circle. I'm going to call this episode the circle. That there's a fire in the middle of the circle, and where the firelight ends, that's where the danger begins. And I'm going to really go into that today. But he mentioned, although it's our job to protect the fringes of that firelight as men, um, really our whole life should be about enjoying what's in the firelight, right? And so let's define those concepts. That's really what I want to work on today. Um, yeah, so let's make it a parallel. The we'll start with the campfire. All right, so you're sitting around a fire outside, and that's where the people are all there. You're having a beer, listening to music, talking, enjoying each other, um, being relaxed, being comfortable, being happy, and enjoying life. And past the edge of that light, I mean, that's where there could be animals out there. There could be, I don't know, insects or snakes or bad guys that you can't see. That's sort of where fear begins, okay? And in the lighted area, that's where you really don't have to be afraid. So the parallels are like, how does that apply to the real world? Okay, because you're not going to spend your whole life standing around a campfire, sadly. Um, well, how that applies to your life would be like your home, as far as your children and your wife are concerned. Um, as far as they're concerned, the walls of that house, it might as well be a fortress. Okay, bad guys don't get in there. Bad ideas, bad thoughts, terrible things, nothing. Not even cold temperatures, oppressive heat, water, snow. None of that gets in. Okay, that's what your house is. It really is a fortress. It's there to not to contain you, but to keep out undesirable shit, right? And one of the great things about that is if you had a decent childhood, and I had a very good one, I had no concept of things as a child like what it took to build that home. I just took it for granted that it was there. There it stood. I mean, practically, as far as I was concerned, it had always stood, and it would always stand. That home that we lived in, but someone had to build it. Someone had to struggle physically. Maybe got some injuries while they were doing it. Um, and then currently, your parents or somebody, they're paying for it. All right, you're probably paying a mortgage on it, and there's electric bill, and there's you know other bills, that your phone bill, things that allow that fortress to stand and allow it to stay in place. And isn't it indeed the great pride of your mom and your dad to have created such a fortress and to continue to maintain it? Uh, and the children inside are blissfully unaware of that work. They just take it for granted. This is the world. This is how it is. It's fun. It's peaceful. It's great. It's always warm. It's never wet. Um, what an awesome thing! And that you, as a man, right? That's the thing that you want to be doing. I would consider a greenhouse for plants the same thing. A completely controlled environment, and look what happens inside. Everybody grows. Everything gets better. Things get green. You produce vegetables, flowers, whatever it is that you want. So you create this environment, and then inside life happens, and good things happen, and beauty indeed happens. Um, let's get bigger. I would tell you that uh, police department in your community, they have essentially the same effect. You generally don't have to worry too much about crime. Just the presence of a police department in itself is a deterrent to bad guys doing bad things to you. Well, we don't want to get in trouble. The bad guys would be thinking that. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to get arrested, whatever it is. And so that prevents most crime, just the presence of police. And then, of course, you have that recourse when bad things happen. You do have someone who can call and who can take care of it. So there's the reactionary piece as well. But in the same way, police, they create safety. And inside of that, you get to live your life and do things well and live in reasonable freedom of fear of bad guys. And then even bigger than that, I would tell you, is the military for your country. And along with that military, things like, let's go back to your home, walls, right? We have decided that within this area, we have set this certain grouping of rules. We have, as a group, agreed that these are the rules we will all follow. And it's a social contract that should you break those rules, well, then there will be repercussions for that because we all agreed. And if you don't like those rules, you are free to go to another place and where maybe the rules are more in line with what you want. I think that a lot when I see, and I'm making a real conscious effort to not sort of wallow in the frustration that for me comes with exposing myself to ideas and concepts that I don't agree with or don't like. That's another upside of Substack, and I'm going to go on kind of a tangent here. Man, I've been laying off TikTok and Instagram and YouTube for a long time, several months, and my life is better because I find that going through that stuff, um, and it's my own fault. I have set, my algorithm is set up to feed me shit that pisses me off, and I used to rationalize that as, well, I need to be up to date on what's going on in this field that I choose to write about and that I choose to record about. I need to be up to date on that. But it isn't making my life any better. Let's be honest. And hey, I just hired this guy Garrett to do all that for me. Go out there and sell shit for me. I don't want to burden myself with the burdens of the world. Like the whole, and I'm going to get back to the military thing. The whole idea of we've got these supposedly people going around the country and protesting Trump and Elon. And man, you don't like the rules? Fucking go someplace where the rules are more suited to you. Okay, if you're a super lefty like that, go to Canada. Okay, they couldn't be more liberal. Like basically that's socialism at this point. I dated this girl very briefly who was from Canada, and I had the opportunity to look at her paycheck. She's a teacher, really nice girl, and I couldn't believe the amount of taxes that she paid. It was more than half is what she was paying in taxes. Now, and on paper, it looked like she made a lot more than an American teacher, gross. But what she took home was way less. That's what it is in Canada, okay? And how does that parallel to this whole idea, this concept? Well, I go back to this all the time. The internal and external locus of control. I am an internal locus of control guy. I believe that I control what's around me for the most part. I believe that the things that are in my life are because of decisions I've made and because of behaviors that I engage in. And I want to be responsible. Not only do I believe that I am, but I want to be responsible for that. I like that the walls in my life, literally the walls around me that you see here, I built them myself. The limits I have in my life, they're there because I placed them there. I physically can do lots of things that a man my age, lots of them cannot do. And it's because I have chosen to maintain those things. I have created the life that I want and I continue to maintain it. I have responsibility for that. Whereas an external locus of control person, i.e., again, this is going to parallel with Canadians, liberals, etc. They believe that everyone around them should take care of them. They believe the government should take care of them. There's a lot of shoulds in the external locus of control mindset. Well, you should just do that, and this should go that way. And I've heard this from so many teachers in my life. Teachers should make more money. Well, you know what? They don't. So if you don't like that, you can get inside the organization and work to change it. Okay? I mean, like, I'm on a school board, and I have some input in what the money that teachers make. So I can make that change. So I'm in there adjusting that. Most of my parents were teachers. I got lots of friends who are teachers. I'm here to help the teachers in the community where I serve. Hey, get in there and make a change. If you don't, I'm telling you, complaining doesn't help at all. And that's what protesting is. You're basically just whining. You're out there parading the fact that you cannot or choose not to do anything to change this shit. Because essentially, when you're protesting, you're begging. You're like, hey, powers that be, change this stuff for us. You should think the way we think. And it's just a parade, right? It is ineffectual. It's impotence. And that to me is insulting. And I would never put myself in that position. It's either get into a thing and change it, or go someplace where the shit's already changed how you want it to be. Maybe a combination of both, right? So getting back to the military, yeah, we have boundaries. I'm so glad that they're rebuilding that wall. And from now on, people who want to come to the country, they're going to have to do it legally, just like every other country since the beginning of time. Why is that such a bad thing? Um, I don't get it, you know. But this is it. This is the circle, I think, really in a gigantic nutshell. Um, those who are inside the circle, those who are by the firelight, those who are in your home, or the plants that are in the greenhouse, isn't it quite a compliment to you, you men who choose to live on the perimeter, who choose to at least understand and accept that there is a perimeter? What a compliment it is to you that they have the blissful luxury of not having any idea that the evil out there even exists. This is the greatest country ever created. Very much believe that. And there are a lot of bad people who want to come here to leech off of us, or worse yet, do harm to us. And those people who are out there protesting, they've got no idea. All they think are, oh, they're just people, and they're underrepresented, and they're oppressed, and we should welcome them in here, and they should this and that. But you know what? If they had the capability of, we'll just say, living in a country like ours, let alone creating one, they would have done it where they're from, right? But that's not what's going to happen. They're going to bring where they're from here and make it harder for those of us who have created this. And I'm saying us, but I'm not a military guy. I'm not a veteran. I wouldn't say I regret that, but I would tell you if I relived my life, there's like a 3-year span in my life where that's what I would have done. I would have done that. If I could, you know, redo it, that's how I would do it. But you see the concept, right? So what is this circle? Well, for a man, you must be aware that there are dangers to your family, the people around you. And again, I draw no lines between man and leader. If you're a leader of an organization of any kind, a team or a business or a community leader, then you are responsible for knowing what the threats are that are out there. And again, indeed, it's a compliment when those within your organization don't understand that those dangers exist. I got a buddy who is a superintendent, and I happen to be, we're friends, so we'll have a beer and he will vent about the things that are going on in his district. And I always tell him that. I'm like, man, what a compliment it is to you that these people have the luxury of complaining about things when they have no idea what you have already prevented them from experiencing. The different things he's brought into his school district down there, and the different ideas he's brought in, and how much he's improved everything that he's doing. And they don't even know. So as challenging as that is for him in his leadership position to sort of deal with that and not just go, fuck you, you're an idiot, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I am the roof keeping the rain off of you. Person. I am the walls. I'm all that shit. I'm the one protecting you so that you can live inside of this school district, and all you got to worry about is teaching your classes, and that's it. But you come up with all this shit to complain about when, man, I'll tell you, if somebody else hadn't done what I was doing, you would have way more to complain about, or you might not have a job, right? Because I've done this financial move or whatever it might be. That's what it is to be a man and be a leader. I've talked about that 1,000 times. Being a man is like being an offensive lineman. Your job is to make everyone else's job easier. That's it. And the only time you're going to get on the big screens is when you screw it up. The only time anybody's going to give you any, you're going to hear from anyone is when you made a mistake. And sorry, man, that's what it is. Okay. But have a little perspective with that. Understand that when you are actually by the fire, okay, when you are enjoying your time with those people that you protect and you provide for, whatever capacity it might be, you have the luxury, the hard-earned, hard-fought luxury of being able to take tremendous pride and have an amazing sense of satisfaction and accomplishment at being the one who made that fire possible. Okay, you cut the wood, you lit the fire, you put the rocks around it. All of that was you. Okay, that absolutely was you. So have that pride. So in that circle, when you are by that fire, these are things that exist inside the circle: concepts, ideas, fairness. Okay, I've often said that fairness is the harbor. It's the environment. It's the go-to idea for the incompetent. Those who can't perform as well as others always want to talk about fairness. People at the top who are accomplishing and getting shit done, they don't talk about fairness. Okay, fairness is the refuge of the incompetent. I've said that 1,000 times. It's very true. But that concept cannot exist without protection. Okay, you get to worry about fairness. You get to think about, well, let's bring up the lower levels. Let's help out this person or help out this concept that isn't doing well on its own. Okay, I think about like Native Americans, and this is going to be unpopular, but man, they lost. That's all. They just didn't have the technology. All right, Europeans came over to North America. Really, it's happened on every continent. Europeans are more advanced, more technically advanced, and they won. You know, they won. I mean, it's survival of the fittest. That's what it is. That's what it is to be at the fringe of the fire. Okay, it's strongest survive. Okay, and then once that is done and the peace is made, then the strongest get to enjoy the fire itself. Right? Compassion, empathy. These are ideas that exist only in the fire. There is no compassion and empathy in war. Okay, it's kill or be killed. Okay, they're great concepts and they're beautiful, and enjoy them as much as you can. Know every time that can't exist without what's outside the fire. Feelings, equality, all of these ideas are things that exist inside the fire, or inside the firelight, I should be saying. And isn't this indeed what liberalism is, right? Civil rights and equality, fairness, diversity, equity, inclusion. Again, these are all luxuries that are provided by the people that those that within the circle don't like, right? That they disagree with. Yeah, it's the birthplace of liberalism, is it the fire? It's the environment, it's the home of the weak. That's where women and children are. They live in that area. And hell yeah, that's exactly what you as a man should be providing. And that's how it goes. So outside the circle, though, at the edge and on the fringes, and indeed in the dark, that's where conservatism lives. That's where, hey, we got to be prepared. We need to protect. We need to make sure that we ration. Um, we're logical. We're smart about things. We got to make sure shit is taken care of. Once that's done, then we can go enjoy being the firelight with the weak. And I think about my brother, for example. Great dude. I haven't seen him in too long. When he is camping, he's got this really nice trailer RV, right? And so he'll take it to a place with his wife and his kids, and he is just stick up his ass until that's all set up, till everything's hooked up, everything's level, everything's put where it needs to be, the awning's out, the chairs are out, like everything's right. Right up until that point, he is tough to deal with. Like, I'll go over there and offer to help him, but it's like I'm laughing under my breath about how tense he is, about how worked up he is about it. But to his credit, as soon as kind of he hits the green button and it's time to enjoy, boom, he's sitting by the fire, he's drinking a beer, he's enjoying himself, he's good. And that indeed, I think, is a microcosm of this concept of the circle, right? He can't enjoy himself until he knows everyone is provided for. Okay. And that's being a good man. I mean, it really is. I love watching him do it. I give him shit about it every time, but I love the idea behind it because he gets it. You know what I mean? So yeah, at that fringe, that's where competence matters more than anything else. Jack Donovan also says that men still very much gauge each other or value each other based on your estimation of their worth in battle. So another calm guy who has strength, has perspective, all the masculine traits that I talk about all the time. You value that guy because you know I can rely on that guy when I need him. You know, I have his back. I want to keep him in my circle. I want to keep him in my group. I want to make sure that we are aligned because I know he's going to be an ally when the shit goes down. If the shit goes down. And that's true. So competence, that's above all else. That's meritocracy. That's the conservative view, right? I don't want DEI telling me who's flying my airplane or doing the operation on me, you know, doing a surgery on me. I want the most competent person doing it. I don't give a fuck what they look like. I probably will never see them. I just want the work done, you know? Um, yeah, so at the fringe, that's what matters because it's black and white. It's do or die. Mental strength is huge. And I always talk about this, that you train mental strength by doing physical tasks. And the more you can accomplish those physical tasks, the more your brain's going, oh, I can do that. Oh, cool, I can do that. And you get in the habit of thinking, I can do that. And then you don't freak out and things go well. Yeah, mental strength, that's universally respected because it wins. You know, it wins. Courage, endurance, things like this, concepts that make it, you know, these are the things that make you successful outside in the dark, on the edge, on the fringe of the light. Um, as a military guy, as a policeman, as a leader of any kind. I mean, these are things that you have to have. That's why they have this phrase that the best Indian doesn't always make the best chief. And there's two pieces of that. First of all, leadership is a skill, and it's its own skill. So just because you're good at accomplishing a task does not mean you can lead others to accomplish that same task. I keep going back to the schools, but um, I worked with a lot of teachers who I didn't think were very good teachers, but they were very good administrators. And at the same time, I also saw people who were very good teachers and been doing it for a very long time. They're pretty average administrators. It's a different skill set. Um, it's just how it is. That's definitely a piece of it. Um, yeah, rational, logical. This is what it is to be out there. We have a thing to accomplish. We're going to get it done. We got to build a wall, or we have to create weapons, or we have to build traps, or we have to outthink our opponent. There is no room there for fairness or equality or feelings. There's just getting the job done. That's another reason why I like my job doing construction. I mean, there's no foof, there's no fluff at all. It's just either it's done or it's not done. You're either getting paid or you're not getting paid. It either passed inspection or it didn't. I mean, that's it. It's black and white, and so there's no sense in, well, we need to. This plumber can never pass inspection, so we need to lower the standards so this plumber. No, then shit's gonna leak. There's no room for that. It's competence, and that fits well with how I think because I'm a man, and that's how that works. Also, on the fringe, chain of command is huge, and the reason for that, it's not a power thing, or it's not a hey, I'm better than you, or I'm gonna force you down and patriarchy. God, I hate it when people say that shit. It's because we got to make decisions really quickly in battle. That's it. And if you are one who wants to go, well, why am I doing this? Or I think it should go that way. Get the fuck out of here because people are going to die. You know, that's what chain of command is. It's about saving lives. And that's what it is on the fringe, on the edge of the circle, outside the fire. You know, that's how that goes. Um, so, kind of summing it all up, the main idea here is that you as a man, you know, you are absolutely responsible for keeping your family safe. You probably didn't build your own house, but you're paying for it, and you're maintaining it, and you're keeping the lights on, you're keeping the heat on, and in that way, you are fighting off the bad guys. You are protecting. And the less people who are in that home know about that fight, the better job you are doing. Okay? Better job you're doing. Because isn't that what you want? You want them to have a beautiful home life, a beautiful childhood, free of fear and worry. You take that on for them. You take that responsibility for them because you love them. And as a leadership, and in any leadership is just the same thing. You might not love your people, but you know what your job is, and you're going to do it well. you're going to do it as well as you can. And you're always aware of that. But that's not the goal of your life, bro. The goal is to be in the firelight with them. And like I told you before, to enjoy the luxury of knowing that this safety, this health, this beauty, this laughter is here because I create the environment so that it can grow there. Right? What an amazing thing you get to do as a man, to be the determiner of that, to be able to say, hey, I want you guys to have this beautiful life and I'm going to give it to you. Right? Isn't that beautiful? So good for you, bro. If you're doing that, if you're getting that done, pat yourself on the back. Because like I said, you're an offensive lineman. Not a lot of people are going to pat you on the back. Only when you screw up are you going to hear about it. So know that. Respect the grind. You should too. You know somebody who is getting it done, taking care of business, and his family has no idea, or the group that he's responsible for has no idea, pat him on the back. He can use it. Okay? All right, guys. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. We're talking today about the circle. And you can check out my books on Amazon. You can get them on my website, travisneville.com, which is recently rebuilt. Here's one. This is my the one that sold the most, Reviving Masculinity. The new one, Mastering Masculinity. And then my first one, I don't talk about this a lot, but the Jossman Method. Proud of that one too. They're all out there. They're available on Amazon. You can get them at walmart.com, barnesandnoble.com, anywhere good books are sold. You can even get them at a lot of places where shitty books are sold. And that's fine with me too. Check out the new website if you can, travisneville.com. I've got new t-shirts, a bunch of decals for sale, and stuff you can grab. If you like what I'm doing here, help me out. All right, hope you guys have a great week. I will talk to you soon. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. Hope this episode helped you get your shit together. See you soon.